George, how are you?
Fine, thank you, sir. You're aging very, very nicely. This is the gray.
Well, when you started with the presentation, I was wondering, my God, how old is this man?
Yeah. I mean, Ultimate Paradise was a did I say Ultimate Paradise? Inspector Bediako was a classic. Yeah.
Of course, there were a lot of classics around that
There were
time.
lots of classics around that time.
I should be grateful to him. He's immortalized me in his play.
Yes,
I
that
get
is
a
true.
mention
That is
in
true.
his
You did
play.
get a mention.
Yeah.
He left some of us out. Yes. He left
Oh,
some
we're
of us
coming
out.
to your generation.
We do some.
Production is in there.
Oh, we do some. We have tried. You know, Ghana's first official black bad boy was the legendary Jagapi.
Yes.
When Jagapi left, a certain boy just stepped in. We tried. Yeah, we tried. Anyway, gentlemen, good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
So if you've not been following, Sector Minister Honorable Catherine Afeku met with friends from the media fraternity, specifically in the tourism and art and culture sector, to deliberate, because, you know, we've been agitating. Recently, the president met the press. Some people from our industry were invited, specifically I think it was Francis Duku and others, Moabedu, but maybe they were too short, so even though they raised their hands very high, they still couldn't be seen, let alone called to ask a question. So the sector minister decided to meet with some of us. Unfortunately, some of us weren't able to be there, but fortunately, our cameras, GH1 TV, were there. So we'll take a look. When we come back, we'll have a chat in the studio. It is the Pundit. Stay on.
At the Meet the Press conference organized by the Ministry of Culture, Tourism and Creative Arts on Monday, 29th January 2018, the minister brought to light what her ministry has done in the past year and also outlined the plans she has for the ministry this year. However, from her delivery, one can attest to the fact that a lot has been invested and done to the tourism sector.
The vision of our ministry is to develop sustainable tourism pivoted on Ghanaian culture and creative arts as a key to accelerated national development. The first official public function since we assumed office was to spearhead the organization of the Chocolate Day on February 14th, 2017. As you are all aware, Ghana migrated from Valentine's Day celebration to National Chocolate Day in an effort to promote cocoa consumption. In the same month, I was invited among other African ministers of tourism to participate in the World Tourism Forum in Turkey. This trip and my participation in the forum, among other officers that I went with, have been a blessing to this dear nation of ours. It led to Ghana gaining the rights as the first African country south of the Sahara to host the first ever World Tourism Forum Africa Summit. In the month of April, the Kwawu Easter Paragliding event was organized by Ghana Tourism Authority, one of the agencies under my ministry, recording one of the highest patronage in recent memory. In order that the organization of the event does not take an undue toll on the national budget, because we finance that from GTA, the ministry took the decision to set up Ghana Paragliding School to train local pilots. In May, Ghana participated in the United Nations World Tourism Organization Executive Council meeting. Ghana is one of the 19 African countries with a seat at the Executive Council. It was our first, my first, since I came to office, but we made an impact, a humble one. We successfully negotiated for Ghana to be made the UNWTO Themis Regional Training Hub for West Africa. In June, the China Outbound Travel and Tourism Market, which is a major travel and tourism fair in China to promote Africa as a destination, was held. Our participation bore unintended fruits. Besides direct marketing to the country as a destination for the over 1 billion people to visit Ghana. Another project in the offing, Akwaba Hotels. As you walk through the exhibitions, you saw that we had the prototype and the drawings. This is in answer to the request within the country and outside to provide affordable accommodation.
Said about the creative arts sector. A few points like having tourism and creative arts ambassadors to preach Ghana to the world through a mobile TV app was mentioned. The likes of Ejako TV and Datilumba TV would be the first to start with, was what she seemed to hammer on.
I would like to invite most of you who will have the time on a Sunday to be at Accra Mall. In partnership with this private sector person, we are launching Ejako TV. Another one in the offing for music is Daddy Lumba TV, a channel that will be ready next month. Though the Creative Arts Bill is yet to be passed into law as an act, and we salute the predecessors and the stakeholders who worked on it to get the bill, we are pleased to announce that the Creative Arts Council Secretariat has been established with a fully furnished office at Attic with an interim executive headed by Mr. Oke Kumante, an industry person.
Did you hear? I told you. Ejako TV, Dadilumba TV. I'm sure if we had stayed there longer, we would have had Lord Kenya TV and others, you know. And
No, there's nothing like Lord Kenya TV.
But Lord Kenya TV will not be bad.
No, there's nothing like Lord Kenya TV. Lord Kenya is busy
Amachi Dede
with
TV.
evangelism things. So
Amachi Dede TV.
Amachi Dede
TV.
That won't be bad. That won't be bad. But the whole idea is to, monetize creative works. And so, of course, we can have Amachi Dede TV. And the platform, again, it's not like a television channel, a full television channel. It's just a channel on a platform. And so you are not going to broadcast on your, if you like, your terrestrial
But the platform
space.
is called what? Dadilumba TV.
Yes, it's like a channel. It's you have, these apps on Android and everything. So you can watch a lot of television channels. And so they've created a small portion called Ejako TV, where you have all his movies. You understand? And so, I think it's sort of monetizes his works. And so he gets something small. It's not something that the ministry is going to invest.
So the ministry
so much money.
is helping and using state resources to create or launch a channel
I'm
that
not
is
sure-
going to make
I'm not
Ejako
sure this-
alone generate revenue.
Well, it could be a pilot project. It could be something that came out of
sell
the...
Ghana to the world. So I was just trying to get the link between that.
Of course, because a lot of Ejako's fans stayed outside Ghana. And so,
Ghanaians abroad.
and the app can be accessed all over the world. And so it gives people the chance to, because the movies Ejako acted in were all in Tree, 100% Tree. And remember, Ejako single-handedly revived our movie, industry.
That's debatable.
Exactly. And he's won Order of the Voter for his contribution to
Nobody is questioning
so
the contributions.
it's in line. I think, for
But
me,
my question is, in a world, and I don't know if maybe Oscar, since he's an actor, he might want to come in.
Yeah.
Earlier, before we started the show, we're even speaking about welfare of some of our, especially matured and grown actors in the industry. We saw Delay Show right here on GH1 TV the other day with my own big brother and friend Samajete Few, and we heard the man, and many are touched and all those things. It's a welfare issue right over there.
Yes.
And you create a TV channel, state resources to
It's-
create a
it's
channel
not
where
a television channel.
Okay, you create an app or an outlet, a resource, a revenue generation
On already
point
existing
where
platform.
one person is going to generate that revenue. One.
the
Are they going to
ministry
create
definitely-
TTTV too?
Come again.
Are they going to
I mean,
somebody
the platform is huge. You can put as many artists on it. You can bring, like recently Musica sold some works from Isaiah Amachi Dede. It's the same thing. You can catalog a lot of artist work, or you can, if this particular artist has got a lot of works, that you can give him his single brand, because the name Ejako,
Oh, it's a big name.
makes
Not
us
always
laugh.
about it. It makes
And
a
so it's a
it brings
huge
about
brand on its own.
Not always about it.
And so
Look, let
selling
me
it
bring
on the
Oscar.
platform,
Let me bring Oscar into this.
I think that-
before we start our proper content, we haven't started it.
Look,
Let's just
I think there is good intent
very good.
in what she said. There needs to be platforms, and looking at the digital age and looking at how we have to now market our products online, and in the technology today, we need to create platforms like Netflix and so forth, which obviously allows for the monetization
Exactly.
of people's works. Yes. So the questions one may ask, and we don't know all the details, is like you were referring, is this public money for private gain? Or I think I heard her saying there was some private partnership somewhere. Yeah. Is it an initiative of a private sector person? Those are little details you have to look at, but let's look at the big picture. What do we really want? We want to create platforms for all of the creative arts people to be able to monetize their work, because at the end of the day, that's what we've been crying about. But the monetization and the protection of their works.
But really,
now the issue is, for me, priority. Are these the prioritized areas that we want to begin with? And there's nothing wrong with doing that, but maybe the concerns of major people, of major stakeholders in the industry at this particular time. And don't forget, this is a time where people have waited for over 20, 30 years, and now things are beginning to happen to see some movement towards the normalization and the standardization of the industry. Certain acts have been passed. The film bill has been passed. You know, we've heard her saying that they are working towards having the creative arts bill. So my question here is, the creative, when we discuss this industry, it seems to be rolled up in a lot of different things. The creative arts industry is totally different from the different domains like the film industry. So you have the film bill and the film act. The creative arts industry has domains. It has
poetry, it has dance,
it has over 50 something
it has pottery,
domains.
even
it moves into
painters,
architecture, IT, fashion, and so forth. The domain is huge. Architecture, it involves all of these domains. And my question now is, are those vehicles like the creative arts industry backed by law? They can be creations of the ministry, because the ministry has a mandate to create special vehicles. So now you have to chase the law to back it. So what is happening to the things that are already there by law?
Good question.
These are the things that we are wondering about. And so those of us at the background who are within the film sector are saying, hey, that's nice, no problem, we love what you're doing, fantastic, but
is it what we need at the moment?
This is what we need. We have a law. We have a film bill that was passed a year ago. And it's there. And it says there is an authority called the Film Authority. And the Film Authority, not there shall be, there is.
Which there isn't at the moment.
So for us, our starting point is the Film
Authority.
And the actual full authorization of the act. And
let
so
me
those
bring
are the
Oscar,
areas that we're looking at.
Let me bring Chief into the conversation right now. Chief, listening to the minister, I don't know if you've read after, I don't know if you were there or you've read after it or you followed whatever it was. I think it aired live on TV and it was on radio as well. Do you, as a poet, do you feel that you have been neglected by your sector?
I mean, let me start by saying that I like to look at the whole creative ecosystem. So in my worldview of the creative art industry, I don't separate the film from the creative. I think that there's a creative economy. Yes, there's a creative economy that encompasses the film, theater, fashion, arts and crafts, all of it. The business of producing content, you know, if you like, whether it is, you know, virtual or physical content. Yes, have I felt that the industry has been neglected? Well, if you take a look at my larger vision for the sector, because I feel that our creative industry should be the highest earners into our economy, not our gold, not our cocoa, not our oil, and these are finite. They are not going to be there forever. So I feel that creative economy should be the mainstay of our economy and should be driving jobs and development. So in that respect, I feel that the industry has been neglected for so long. Even now, thankfully, there's a lot of advocacy, and that advocacy hasn't been instantaneous. It's been years of saying that this is an important industry. Look at it. And last year, the last government started talking about it and implementing stuff. This government has taken it. So because there's more talk and because there's more advocacy, politicians are responding. But they are not responding with that bold initiatives, or they are not responding with that giant leap that we expect. Maybe it's because it's now at the beginning stages. But in terms of my vision for the industry, I don't think that we're even beginning to scrub it, because I think that when the president sits at cabinet with his ministers, the national cake is small, right? So they're thinking about health, they're thinking about education, they're thinking about agriculture, they're thinking about other sectors. So when issues of the creative art comes in, because of those, they look at the models like entertainment, you know, and there's this idea of creative arts, music and dance. People tend to always just categorize under these
But
small
Chief,
versions.
isn't it also true that even in corporate institutions, when times are hard and they want to cut down, that is the part they look at first?
Yes.
Advertising, entertainment, leisure, and all those things.
But my argument is that we have been crisis managing, let's say, since the Fourth Republic, since 1992, and we haven't really transformed this economy in any dramatic way. It is still we've been mining gold for centuries, we've been farming cocoa for centuries, but we haven't been able to compete anyway. And so we'll keep on managing and crisis managing, and we're not building sustainable economies into the future that can scale and provide more employment and influence the world. Look, we're not going to compete with Germany in the next 100 years when it comes to, how do you call it, engineering. We will not compete with the Chinese when it comes to fabrication. So what would be the narrative of our economic power? And I think that for Africa, it is really, if you like, in quotes, the culture industry, the creative industry, that it is where we can use our talent, our skills, and the things that we produce to scale up and sell to the world. And for me, that's where I think African government, so in that broader vision, I don't think that our government have been serious enough. But yet, I must concede that now there is talk, and so there's reactions little by little. But as I sit here today, I still don't feel that.
You spoke
that
about
ambitious.
the government generally.
Yes.
You touched on the government, and
Yes.
I'm going to put all of you on the spot. Kelly, who was the last deputy minister for the sector? The last in the previous government?
This is easy.
Madam Jifagomashi.
Who is the current vice president?
I know the point you're trying to
No, I'm
do.
just asking.
But seriously,
Who is the current deputy minister?
he was president at yesterday's press
What's the man's name, lad?
I myself, I forget.
Yeah, it's a big,
Oscar,
you know.
You know the man?
I actually spoke to him. We met on
Because
PMB,
if
but
it's been a year,
Yes.
and you can't even remember his name.
Well, you know, Auntie Jifa was a bit, you know, all over the
she's
place.
an industry
Yeah, she's an
person,
industry
I think-
person.
I
She was
think-
almost at every event. She was very accessible. So maybe that is not the best of standards.
No,
to compare.
by that, my follow-up question was that, would you feel that the deputy minister has been a little distant from the industry?
Yeah, I think so. Because I've been wondering myself.
In comparison with his predecessor.
I think so, George. But listening to the ministry herself, I mean, she made things look
You mean
quite
the minister?
brighter. Yeah, the minister. She made things look quite brighter. I mean, her eloquence in the presentation and everything. I actually forgot about the deputy. Well, I've already forgotten. But you know, I think
people
wherever
have
he is,
different workings.
whatever
Yes.
he's
Yeah,
doing,
of course.
you know,
No,
George,
but you
after the
see,
presentation
beyond
and
the
everything,
working styles, and this is talk of town, we cannot run away from it. And people have asked me a lot of times. I know that I think it's Alhaji Bari Idi or something.
Yes,
if I'm not
Idi, I
mistaken,
remember
something
some
like
Idi
that.
somewhere.
Yeah, Dr. Ziblim Bari Idi or something.
Okay,
I'm
you
not
have
too
it.
sure. Yeah, I think
you
it's
have
something
it.
like that.
You remember.
Yeah,
that's the name.
George, you know the
you
guy.
know. Oh yes, because I was one of the first to interview him on radio before he was even appointed. When it was rumored that he was going to be there, I think before his vetting.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he had been given the accent by the president before the vetting. Also, we had a chat and all that on Star FM. You know, so I kind of remember a little bit, and I also remember at that interview he did admit that yes, he may not be so conversant with the dealings in the industry, but he's willing to learn.
Of course.
Question is, has he learned fast enough, or is he contributing fast enough? I like the idea of people having different working styles, but this is an industry where we must feel you.
Well, look, let's put it this way. Yes, you can say there are different working styles, and the question we're asking ourselves is this: ministers come, and ministers will go, but the stakeholders are still here.
Oh, I'm going to come to that. The stakeholders thing, it's team effort. By that, my next question would be that, could it be that perhaps due to the Honorable Deputy Minister should forgive me, but from where I sit, I think there's a lot of inexperience. Could it be that perhaps due to his inexperience, there's too much weight on the shoulders of the minister?
Look, it's difficult to talk about these issues because you're evaluating somebody's you know, work within a certain time frame. So for me, those are not issues that one should look at. One should focus really on what do we need and what do we have to advocate for. What do we have to do to do that lobbying and to make sure that we get them to work. Everybody who is working for the state is working for the people of Ghana.
But Uncle,
it
after the presser yesterday, the deputy should be here explaining to Ghanaians what actually happened yesterday.
But
you and I are not.
Maybe it's also important to understand the
not,
internal politics in the ministries, because I know that a lot of times the position of deputy doesn't really. Auntie Jifa all over, she couldn't even approve 1,000 cities for anything, no matter how she wanted to do. And there was always the impression that head minister Elizabeth, was always, you know, so she had no power and had no authority. So maybe we should also look at the governance system, that you put people in power. And I know currently a few people who are occupying some positions, I mean not ministerial, but maybe related to the industry, who are complaining because they don't have a rapport with their bosses, or basically they are sidelined. So we should also understand that sometimes the position can be incapacitating depending on the internal politics within that institution. So he's just there, probably he doesn't have, and you know, the current minister is very, you know, eloquent, outgoing, so she's that kind of personality who is in your face. He is also of the reserved type. So if he's reserved and he finds himself in a position that does not really give him any authority to do anything, you definitely wouldn't feel an impact. The only way we felt Auntie Jifa is because she made herself available.
But isn't that going to make the industry suffer, Kelly? Because look, if like Oscar is saying, we need to advocate, we need to push. Let us forget what the internal politics or whatever it is. Let's advocate. Unfortunately, when we push, these are the people that our push is going to get to. They are the one who's going to carry it. So if we have one who doesn't have the competence or the experience or the weight to be able to support the other,
or the opportunity,
thank you very much, to be able to carry it through, then what is our advocacy and everything? All this talk that we are doing, what is it going to amount? The minister came to speak plenty, and I heard very little about the creative arts. Personally, I was heartbroken. I've listened to the entire clip, and I was heartbroken. I was because about 80 to 85 to 90% of what she said was on tourism. Where is the creative arts?
Maybe the deputy minister should be given the position where his portfolio is really in charge of the creative arts and given some power and some exposure. So that I agree with. But also because that's how it has always been. You know, we always talk about tourism, and we don't even understand that the tourism is just a concept, and it will not stand without your creative arts. And actually, people come to places for experiences. So are we curating the experiences? Of course, infrastructure is key, but second to that is experiences. If you don't have content, and if that content is not engaging, people will not come. And I always ask, what is our tourism narrative? I don't think that Ghana's narrative should be about that. If you want the best safaris, you will not come to Ghana, you go to Kenya. Exactly. If you want the best beaches, you will not come to Ghana. You go to the other African countries with the big beaches. So
I'll go to Caribbean.
So what
Ghana
is our tourism narrative?
Kenya, actually.
And that tourism,
in terms of tourism, Ghana is actually ahead of Kenya and all that.
Yes.
But when he mentioned safari, definitely, if I want safari, I'm going to go to Kenya. Definitely.
So when people talk about, when people mention Ghana, what is that thing that will drive them? And for
that
me,
USP. And I think I do agree. And Oscar, perhaps you might want to, because why did you mention safari for Kenya? Because that's a USP. You understand? It is very, very important. One of the biggest, people go to South Africa just to go and see Sun City. Somebody thought, let us build a city. Let us put this here. Let us build this here. Let us put, there's this hotel, the Palace of the Lost City or whatever it is they call it. Michael Jackson lived there some time ago. Well, you can just go there. What is our USP when it comes to our
celebrities are quite powerful.
Who? Ejako Eko?
Oh yeah. I mean the Ibon Nelsons and the Dasamaja and the rest.
But how are we aligning them towards a Ghanaian narrative?
That's a different discussion.
No, but I would again beg to differ.
For me, the question is,
Uncle Oscar, let me challenge what Kelly is saying. That our celebrities are powerful enough to attract tourism to this country. Really?
They are.
Somebody want to pay money and fly from the United States of America to come and see Oscar Provençal?
Yes.
Well, not to see, but
yes.
What I understand by your point
is towards that.
What I understand by your point is
build the capacity towards that.
Yes.
Now the question is, if you're going to evaluate it the way let's get to the brass tacks.
Thank you.
Ejako for me is on the way down. The law of diminishing returns.
That's not fair.
But that is
when I say down.
He is speaking. It's not that down as
no. Said he's coming back.
No. Let him
belittling
his abilities.
We're saying there is a trend analysis in this country. And Ejako is not the Ejako we knew 5 years ago. So you don't have to argue with me on that. Yvonne Nelson is not the same Yvonne Nelson we're idolizing 5 years ago. Yeah. Fine actress, brilliant, But we don't idolize her like we used to. The Jackies, they don't. When I say they're on the way down, because the industry is on the way down. And so obviously it washes off on you. So this, you have to think, how do I reposition myself? And he's done a brilliant thing to do Ejako TV, because he's obviously trying to reinvent himself and find another way forward. Fantastic. That's what all of us should do, you know, in planning and marketing ourselves and packaging ourselves. So that's fantastic. But as a collective, we should be looking at what are our comparative advantages. What are the things that somebody will come to Ghana for?
What can actually be sold?
Is it our slave trade? Is it our forts? You know, if you say you're going to Mole Park, how long will it take you to see an elephant? And what, you know, it will take you...
Then you are still relying on tourism.
No,
I mean, I
no,
thought
no,
we're
but
trying
it's
to...
you as
the entertainment
but the general thing
aspect.
is, even if we want to go to the creative arts, gentlemen, you see, let us look at the industry holistically.
Okay.
As one big brand. What are we selling? And let me tell you why I didn't agree when he said people will pay money to come see individuals. People would pay money to come see individuals playing in something like Wogbejeke. There is an Oscar Provençal, there is a George Quay, there is an Ejako, there is a that, there is a that. They are coming together to present. So people are... Do you know the number of people who travel to South Africa just to see Umoja? I don't know. You know any South African actors?
Yeah.
How many? Name two.
They
won't come to mind readily. Would you fly to South Africa to see any South African actor?
No, but the point I'm trying to...
but you fly to South Africa to see Umoja.
Yes, George.
That's the point we're trying to make.
And actresses.
You fly to Broadway to see
Lion King.
But we understand what you're saying.
You understand my point?
We understand what you're saying.
Okay.
But we need to look beyond that, because that is sometimes an individual endeavor to package yourself. Also, we're talking about a nation.
Yes.
We're talking about tourism as a nation, not for individuals. It's a subset. As a nation, are we now going to say, okay, we have Mole Park. All right. It takes 3 days, 4 days before you see an elephant. Are we going to import elephants from South Africa or from Kenya? And therefore, we'll build up a wildlife safari industry in Ghana. And therefore, we are going to import wild animals and so forth. Is that what we're going to do for an attraction? Sometimes you have to build the tourism attraction. Is that what we're going to do?
And is the creatives?
Or are we going to just go on this traditional trend of slavery, Pan-Africanism? If so, have we reviewed it? Have we going to see how we're going to package it within the context now that we're talking about, so that these plays are relevant?
Oscar, that is brilliant.
Imagine is what we're talking about.
People got to know, for instance, that at the Cape Coast Castle, the last Friday of every month, there's an enactment of the slave trade at the Cape Coast Castle, live performance. Or if you go there, there's a particular day in the month or something where they show a video. The video has a narrator, there's a poet or whatever that is showing you how it happened 400 years ago and all those things. You just go there and they are walking there. When you go behind the Cape Coast Castle, look, I have seen people dropped at the back of the Cape Coast Castle so many times. They are no longer interested. People tell you, I'm not coming back. At the back, right at the back of the Cape Coast Castle, they'll snatch your camera and run away right now. You understand? When you go to here, you go here, what are you seeing? You enter here, what are you saying? What is it just to... We were in this country when somebody's there to chop trees off at the Brick Gardens or something like that.
So for me, I think that, and that's when I always come down to our national narrative. Ghana should be a mecca for every African and anyone who wants to indulge in African knowledge. That people come here to learn about our past and our story. And if that narrative is powerful, that's the first thing that will actually attract people. And your safari and your wildlife, all of those will be the fringe benefits. But the person will come because Ghana is known as a mecca of the Pan-African. So every African in the Caribbean and the Americas will feel, if I don't come to Ghana before I die, I have not arrived. Then we create that national narrative towards, of course, the issues of the slave trade, as well as the important role we played in the emancipation of this continent. You know, so you string all of that together. So there are activities that you come, you go to the Salagat slave market. It's like it's a journey. You go through all of these places. Larabanga. So from the north, you travel all the way to the south to the slave castles. But as you are doing that, you're also going to see the wildlife. You are going to see the waterfalls. So all of these things are complementing that national narrative. But the reason why people come is because of that important important narrative. And that will not just be, it has to be organic. It has to be something that we are speaking. The president is talking about, ministers are talking about. When we are doing our music videos, there has to be a national consciousness that says that this is what we want to sell. This is Ghana. And that finds expression in different ways. And organically, that's how you speak. Because you will not achieve this by bringing CNN to do some documentary. No, it has to be built subconsciously.
And I agree with you. When we come back from this break, we will be looking at what we want from this ministry. You understand? Generally, not just the creative arts fraternity, mostly the creative arts fraternity, but as an entire industry, what really? And is that the offering so far? Does it look like we are on that path? 22 campaign promises for this sector alone. Or was it 19? 19 or 22? I think it was 22 or 19, one of them. What has been achieved so far? What is the way forward? What is being achieved? Theatres were promised. Accra, not Accra, Kumasi, Takrady, Tamale. What is on the ground?
I think she gave the updates yesterday. That some of
yes,
them,
she did. Some of them were...
Yeah, they're trying to see whether they can renovate, bring them down and build new theatres and stuff. It tells you some work has been done. I mean,
you're locked on GH1 TV. It is the Pundit. We'll be right back. Stay on.
Munch it, chew it, slurp it, enjoy it, burp it, master pass it, choose it, size it, squeeze it, pose it, take it, master pass it, master pass it, master pass it. Anytime, any day, everything that we do, we master pass it, see it, smell it, love it, skip it, live it, push it, master pass it, slide it, shake it, pop it, rock it, twist it, beat it, master pass it, tap it, app it, snap it, scan it, price it, pin it, master pass it, master pass it, master pass it. Anytime, any day, everything that we do, we master pass it.
Today, Ariel will show you how to save more in these tough times.
Why this powder?
It's pretty good and money's tight.
But Ariel gives better cleaning with less powder.
Impossible.
Come with me.
For these tough stains, I'll need 1, 2.
And just 1 handful of Ariel. New Ariel gives better stain removal with less powder.
That's real saving.
Ariel removes tough stains better in 1 wash.
Now available in a new pack at 1 Ghana City.
The Ghana Trade Fair Company, under the auspices of the Ministry of Trade and Industry and the 1 District 1 Factory Secretariat, welcomes you to the 22nd Ghana International Trade Fair under the theme Industrializing Ghana and Creating Jobs. It will be 1 week of exhibition and enterprise from February 28 to March 7, 2018, offering manufacturers, suppliers, consumers, and various service providers the opportunity to network and make sales. The Presidency urges you to support, partner, and explore the opportunities available.
For inquiries, call 0241 818 658, 0244 173 127, 055 247 4632, or visit tradefairgh.com.
The 22nd Ghana International Trade Fair, industrializing Ghana and creating jobs.
This is GH1 TV. It is the Pundits. My name is George Kwe. And of course, I'm still saying special thanks to Chapter 1 Clothing for my outfit. And if you interact with Chapter 1 Classics on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, you can get yourself something like this. You know, I mean, something, it's pretty cool. Something like this and a lot more. And he also, trains, artisans in this field. If you know you've got the skills to sew, or you want to sharpen your skills, you want to make clothes like this, you want to be a designer, then of course interact with them on social media, find Chapter 1 Classics, and definitely you're going to be sorted. They teach a lot of things out there, trust me. So we spoke to the general public, but before we go to listen to the general public, I'm going to come into the studio again and find out exactly what we really need from this industry, you know. And when we come back, you realize that it was at the press conference, industry players, not just general public, and we'll speak to them shortly. But before then, Kelly, let us say the minister invited you over for tea. We're not British. Invited you over for kinky. For kinky. What we're going to do? You're going to come here. Okay. So, asked that, Kelly, you're in the TV space. What do you think your sector needs the most? What would you tell her?
I mean, Joe, the narratives have been there. I mean, we've been trying to get this 70-30 on television.
Yeah.
The television owners are struggling themselves. They don't like the idea of foreign soaps, you know, coming into our system.
Are you sure they don't like it?
No, but they need to make money. They don't like the general idea. If you speak to some of the managers, they don't like it. But look, they need to make money. Our content, are we ready for 70-30? How are we monetizing television platforms, producers, actors, movie, music video producers? When we get content on television, and are we ready for the Ghanaian consumer who their taste and preference is different? I mean, our general taste is now different from what we used to like in the 70s.
Because it depends on what you served us. In those days when we were growing up, we were watching Toddler's Time, Children's Own, Inspector Bedia.
So do we have the content?
The only foreign content we knew was Captain Planet.
Exactly. So do we have the capacity to produce content to fill in this space if we should go 70-30 or 80-20? And so this conversation has to be, you know, engaging.
Chief, let me come to you.
So
as a poet.
I'm sitting with the minister, right, as a theatre practitioner, performer.
Yeah.
So I'll tell Madam Minister, as I always say, that I feel that an agency like, an organization like Alliance Francaise has done a lot for the performing arts industry in Ghana than probably all our government machinery combined.
Yeah.
And it's a disgrace. Most of these young artists who get their big break go to Alliance Francaise because they have the stage, they have the equipment, and they make it available, and sometimes they even have small grants that they put in place. So what would you do? You have secured $50 billion from the World Bank. Congratulations. Let us not flash that money away in lofty conferences and in research and all that stuff, right? Because we have a lot of information. Take $20 million. $2 million for each of the regions. Revamp the various cultural centers. It doesn't have to be a lofty theater. Build something. Most importantly, put in light, put in sound, and give them a little imprest and charge them to make sure that every month there is an activity there. Build a local activity out of performances, whether it is music, it is theater, it is film shows, but get the cultural center busy and let them build a professional link. Let them have audience, let them have media partnerships with local radio stations, and make sure that every week there is something. Then you are beginning to build a performance ecosystem and make it cheap so that a young person can come to the theater, have his production, have his abilities, and be able to access. That's the $20 million. We'll come back to it.
The cheap is the only part I want to make it affordable. The cheap would run it down. Cheap would run the place down. So cheap,
we should leave cheap for
Oscar.
You know, brilliant, well said.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, too, you is a business model.
Exactly.
And we know what our problems are with regards to maintenance and so forth. So yes, we need all of this. We also need private sector involvement. Absolutely. So you have the PPPs to do so. But all the things you've touched on, for instance, you've talked about how you monetize and so forth, and you're talking about the basic laws. How do we make sure that the laws are there?
All these are in law. They are enshrined in the law already.
Audiovisual Rights Society of Ghana,
Yes.
GAMRO, they're all there. They're all there to protect the rights of the creative arts people. How do we ensure they are running properly? How do we ensure that the broadcasting houses are paying their royalties? When was the last time GBC paid any royalty or any media house paid any royalty? How do we do this? We have to start from
I've paid my TV license.
We have to start from these basics.
Yes.
You know, we have to ensure that these things happen. The film bill is there. It's there. Why is it there? It's there so that it makes sure that the system becomes standardized.
Yes.
It patrols the system. How do we engage that? So if we have a law that is passed 1 year ago and we're still sitting here and nothing has happened, we as stakeholders have a right to ask why. We're not asking because we are agitated. We have a right because we are Ghanaians and we are industry stakeholders. So I'll sit here and say, well, Creative Arts Council, yes. And there are so many people with so many dissenting other views concerning that. Because why? We have the Arts Council. We have the National Commission on Culture established by law.
Yeah.
So now we are chasing another law for another parallel institution. So stakeholders come together, come and see how we're going to go forward with this new creation and see whether it is in line or it is going to create conflict in the industry, and so therefore we should harmonize it. So here we have an arts council. The arts council was established, it's a heritage of Kwame Nkrumah. And his, and his input into the creative arts industry, and they have representation right across the country, offices right across the country.
Yeah.
It's been neglected for so long. It has the mandate to do all these things, from data collection to supporting the art. There's the film, the actual cultural policy. It's right here. It's available. It's online. There's a cultural policy. What are we creating? What vehicle again are we creating? Do we really need that vehicle?
Publicity.
And so let us as stakeholders come together and engage in this dialogue and fashion out what is best. Nobody is saying, and I keep on hearing, hashtag minister is working. Who on earth said the minister is not working? Where all of a sudden is this being pushed that the minister is not working? Nobody has said the minister is not working. So if individuals are coming out to say the minister is not working, that's their problem.
But
our
if
job
people are
as
not seeing the minister working.
No, but our job as stakeholders, and that is why there's advocacy.
Yeah.
We need to stop playing the politics, and we need to start doing serious business with our industry and serious dialogue, serious talk.
Great.
And that regards us coming together, doing the advocacy, and whether anybody likes it or not, we are the stakeholders. And the people put in office are there to serve us, not the other way around.
Uncle.
So stakeholders should come together and engage and drive the discourse
Well
forward.
said, guys. Let us quickly go to the industry, other industry stakeholders who were at the press briefing, the press conference. Let's hear their thoughts on this subject matter.
I think her performance was not impressive to me, in the sense that I think that largely some of the things that she said in connection with the creative arts, industry or the sector, was not something that she really knew what she was talking about. This tells me that largely the ministry has really made us understand the fact that it is more geared towards tourism than the creative arts that we think.
If you listen to the entire presentation that happened here, it almost seems like everything was skewed towards tourism rather than creative arts, because everything that they said about tourism was so much on point. Everything, they had the presentations, the slides and everything. But if you sat through it, you realize that even when they were doing the creative arts, there were no slides, there were nothing. On a scale of 1 to 10, if I want to put them separately, on tourism, I think they have done some amount of work. On creative arts and culture, I think they haven't done nothing. It's still zero.
Well, if you're asking me of performance, I think it was solid. It was 100% performance. But then, if you want us to go into what has happened so far, 1 year down the line, what has happened, I would say, well, so far so good. Time will tell. Time will tell, because there are so many problems, so much pressure, and we know that they are dealing with the pressures one after the other. So for now, that's what I can say, that time will tell.
What I want, a bigger stake for creative arts, of course. That is a natural feeling, and if you permit me, because that is where I operate at. So I think that we haven't had much of the stake in the creative arts industry, and I hope that we'll take another look at it, because I still believe that a development of the creative arts industry will benefit tourism. You know, there are 2 feet. I think that culture and the creative arts are the 2 feet of tourism.
So we're about to wrap it up here on another exciting edition of the Pundit. What are your thoughts? A few messages that popped up. Let me see if I can quickly read a few of them. This one from Abdulaziz Wadragro says, I'm wondering the kind of direction that our arts and culture industry is taking. We have several television stations in Ghana who are willing to advertise for free Why create another TV station? Please tell the ministry that several tourist sites are in bad state. They should have made proper investment into these areas rather than wasting that money on a TV for Ejaku and others. Emmanuel Joseph says, since there are complaints of event centers and their capacity, why don't they build an ultra-modern facility that can contain huge numbers unless there are such structures already? Emmanuel, I can tell you on authority, we don't have any indoor venue in this country that can take more than 2,000 people. Public indoor venue. There are a few church spaces that are pretty huge, but proper public indoor venue that we no. Or is there? None that I know of.
I heard of a new one near Trade Fair. So
the dome inside the trade wall is a private property from the last time I checked. It's not a state property.
Well, I heard it could take around 5,000.
I heard that too.
Yes. So
yes.
Yeah,
I actually heard it could take up to about 7,000. Yes, but is it appropriate? Have you looked at it? You see that there are dynamics. When you're looking for an event venue, there are dynamics. So honestly, there are various dynamics that come to play. Adam Sibu says, they should use the money and build cinemas for various regional capitals, and modern national theatre to avoid using the sports stadium, which is meant for sports events. Mashoud Abiola says, I stopped watching Nigerian movies when coconut fell from a mango tree. Stop that.
Maybe the person was holding the coconut on top of the mango tree.
He said they are even welcome to bring Santo TV.
Yeah, Judas and
Manfo. Yeah. Kwesi J says we all listen to her. She did not say she's going to use the money for this. Okay. Then I don't know what she said. This one from Daniel Ishan says it is very senseless and discriminating among creative art players. What about gospel musicians? I'm very sad for being a Ghanaian. Well, those are your thoughts. Gentlemen, we're about to go. Yeah. Quick final thoughts. Kelly, let me start with you.
Charlie,
30 seconds.
The presentation, I mean, obviously, industry people are not happy because the entertainment and the art sector wasn't, highlighted enough for them. But, I would say, I mean, now, the creative art industry and the tourism industry is one. We've intertwined them, and so we should celebrate in all the achievements of all the sectors. We have $50 million. Let's find a way of using that one to, like Uncle was saying, we need to find a nice monetization system for radio and television, and these things can be done. Christima or whatever, they collected enough, information from radio and television, and so we can know the play, data in play schedules of all these media, and we can surcharge them. Media have to pay for creative usage, and so I mean the ministry have done well. I think her articulation and her eloquence sort of crippled the journalists.
So they were quiet. They couldn't.
They were very quiet. They're quite
George, we've talked about government, and I want to talk about an area I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, very quickly. We're out of time.
This year I'm working on the piece called Makers of Civilization. Every civilization that you've seen triumph in this world is because private people put their money in the art. We have a lot of rich people in this country wasting their money buying cars, but no one is investing in the art. No one investing in ideas and creativity. If Mark Zuckerberg were a Ghanaian, he would never have created Facebook. And that's the painful thing. We talk about Mona Lisa today, which is now the world's most famous painting, which is now a national property of France. Mona Lisa was painted by Da Vinci, and Da Vinci was under the patronage of the Medicis. So it is people who put their money behind culture who create civilizations. And so our rich people in our community, whether they got their money by hook or by crook, must begin to think in generational terms and in civilization terms. I've made my money now. I want to invest, and I go and establish a pure factory. I go and build luxury apartment. We're not even building low-cost housing for people. Let someone say, okay, I want to put $2 million in a castle, maybe the Elmina Castle, and change it completely and make it an experiential place. So I want this current generation, I've lost faith and hope in them, but those of us who are coming up, once we make the millions, whether by hook or by crook,
when the government pays you your money,
let us not go and invest the monies in properties in Dubai. Let us invest the money in Ghana. You can find a lot of activities, a lot of young people. Someone should give my friend Tony $100,000 to expand his shoe business and become an African global icon. And that is what we don't have in this country.
Oscar?
Yes, very well said. And I hope it comes to pass.
Amen.
Yes. For me, I look at more of the legal issues, the legal space. To ensure that the basics, let's make sure our rights are protected. Let's make sure that we are grown in our advocacy and that we build the capacity to do so, that we know how to lobby, we know how to push government to get what we want as stakeholders, not what they want, what we want. And that is what we're starting with. Actually, tomorrow we're having a press conference. Now, the film bill...
The Actors Guild?
Yes, okay. Actors Guild, as part of advocacy towards the full authorization of the Film Act. Okay. And you know, it started way back, and that's how the film bill actually came into force. But it's not been operationalized. We're told that there is a film authority. So the film industry is standing still. Why is it standing still? Establish the authority. The law is working. We need to begin that dialogue. We need to make sure that they do the right thing, and we're not backing down. We're making sure that everybody is going to do what we, the stakeholders in the industry, want. And that is what is most important.
George, 10 seconds.
Beautiful.
I want to tell your viewers.
So tomorrow, what time and where?
Tomorrow at the TUC Conference Center at 10 o'clock.
10 a.m.
In March, we're bringing Wagbaja to Tamale, to Kumasi, and to Takrady. So they should be
beautiful. We'll be on standby. And tomorrow, 31st January, nominations close for the nominations close for the 19th edition of the Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. So if you're a musician or you're a music industry practitioner, the unsung, it's going to come out very shortly. It will be announced. It's going to be something special this year. It will be announced shortly. So if you're an music industry person and you haven't entered your works yet, so for us, you have works released between 1st January 2017 to 31st December 2017. Please do ensure that this evening you visit www.entry.ghanamusicawards.com to enter, because by midnight tomorrow, nominations close. You will not have an opportunity to enter. Gentlemen, thank you so very much. And hey, let me say special thanks again to my friend Leslie Redu at Chapter 1 Clothing. I see you're wearing Nalem.
Yes.
Greg, good evening. I'm waiting for it. You know our conversation. We'll continue it at another time.
I've worn a lot of Nalems in my lifetime.
Nalem is a good guy. He's a good friend. But hey, thank you very much for being a part of this show. God willing, it repeats tomorrow. My name is George Quay. Good night.
This hat was given by my great-great-great-grandfather to my great-great-grandfather, who gave it to my great-grandfather, who gave it to my grandfather, who gave it to my